Have you ever sacrificed everything for someone you loved, only for that person to betray you when they finally got what they wanted? Imagine helping your boyfriend chase his biggest dream. You support him emotionally, spend your money on him, pray for his success, and stand by him when nobody else believes in him. Then just hours before he leaves for a new life in Canada, he sits across from you and tells you that he wants an open relationship. Not only that, he says if he finds another woman who can help him get permanent residency faster, you should understand, because it's just a smart move for his job future. What would you do? Would you cry? Would you beg him to change his mind? Or would you teach him a lesson he would never forget? Today's story follows Sophia, a young woman who invested 4 years of her life and millions of naira into the man she loved. She believed they were building a future together. But when Josh revealed his true intentions on the night before his flight, Sophia realized she had been loving a man who was already planning a life without her. What happened next shocked everyone involved and completely changed the course of Josh's Canadian dream. This is a story about love, sacrifice, betrayal, and a decision that left one person heartbroken and the other completely unprepared for what was coming. Welcome back to the channel. Do well, subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. So, sit back, relax, and let's get into Sophia's story. Sophia and Josh had been together for 4 years. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but they loved each other and had built many dreams together. They talked about marriage, owning a home someday, and starting a family. To Sophia, Josh wasn't just her boyfriend. He was her future. Among their close friends were Peter and Vivian, who had watched their relationship grow over the years. Everyone believed Sophia and Josh would eventually get married. One Saturday afternoon, Josh called Sophia, sounding more excited than she had ever had him. "Sophia, I got it!" he shouted over the phone. "You got what?" she asked. "The job in Canada." For a few seconds, Sophia was speechless. Then she screamed with excitement. The two spent almost an hour on the phone talking about what this opportunity would mean for their future. Josh explained that the salary was much better than what he was earning in Nigeria and that this could completely change their lives. That evening, Sophia rushed to meet him. The moment she saw him, she threw her arms around him. "You did it," she said. Josh smiled. "No, Sophia. We did it." Those words made her emotional because she had been supporting him throughout the application process. She had encouraged him whenever he wanted to give up and constantly reminded him that better days were ahead. A few days later, reality set in. Josh received a list of requirements he needed to complete before traveling. There were documents to process, fees to pay, and financial conditions that had to be met. The process was expensive and stressful. At first, Josh seemed confident. But as the weeks passed, the pressure started getting to him. One evening, he sat quietly in his apartment staring at his laptop. Sophia noticed immediately. "What's wrong?" she asked. Josh sighed heavily. "I don't know if I can do this anymore. Everything is costing more money than I expected." Sophia moved closer and held his hand. You've come too far to quit now. Josh looked at her. What if I fail? You won't fail, she replied confidently. At that moment, Sophia made a decision that would change everything. She promised herself she would do whatever it took to help the man she loved achieve his dream. Unfortunately, she had no idea that the same dream she was helping him build would eventually become the reason their relationship fell apart. Once Sophia made up her mind to support Josh, she gave everything she had. What started as simple encouragement soon became financial support, emotional support, and even physical effort. Almost every day, Sophia was helping Josh with one requirement or another. If there was a document to submit, she was there. If there was a form to fill out, she helped. If there was a deadline approaching, she reminded him. The relocation process became their shared project. One evening, Josh called her, sounding worried. Sophia, there's a problem. What happened? She asked. The proof of funds. Sophia knew exactly what that meant. To complete the process, Josh needed to show a large amount of money in his account. Without it, his plans could be delayed or even cancelled. How much are we talking about? She asked. Josh mentioned the amount. Sophia went silent. It wasn't a small sum. For days she thought about it. Part of her knew it was risky, but another part of her believed she was investing in their future. After all, this was the man she planned to marry. Eventually, she made a decision. She transferred 10 million naira to help him. It's the requirement. The money came from her business savings. Some of it even came from a loan she had taken. When Josh saw the alert, he was speechless. You did this for me? He asked. Of course, Sophia replied. We're building our future together. Josh thanked her repeatedly. He promised her that once he settled in Canada, he would repay every kobo. Sophia believed him. A few days later, she met with her friends, Peter and Vivian. As they chatted, Vivian asked an important question. Sophia, are you sure about lending that amount of money? Sophia smiled. It's not just a loan. We're practically family. Vivian exchanged glances with Peter. Neither of them looked convinced. Peter leaned forward. I'm not saying Josh is a bad person, but that's a lot of money. I trust him, Sophia replied confidently. Peter nodded, just to make sure everything is documented. Sophia laughed. Peter, you're worrying too much. The truth was that Sophia never imagined a future where Josh would betray her. To her, their relationship was already heading toward marriage. As the weeks passed, Josh's relocation process continued smoothly. Every successful update brought excitement. When his visa was approved, Sophia was one of the first people he called. When his flight date was confirmed, she celebrated with him. She even organized a small dinner with friends to congratulate him. Everyone was happy. Everyone believed this was the beginning of a beautiful chapter for the couple. Even Vivian eventually admitted that things seemed to be working out. You see, Sophia said proudly, I told you everything would be fine. What Sophia didn't know was that while she was busy planning their future together, Josh was beginning to think about a future that did not include her. And in just a few days, she would discover a side of him she had never seen before. The night before Josh's flight to Canada finally arrived, Sophia had been looking forward to this moment for months. In her mind, it was a celebration of everything they had worked for together. Josh invited her out for a quiet dinner. He said he wanted it to be a special night before his journey. Sophia dressed up nicely, smiling the whole way there. She had no idea that her world was about to collapse. At the restaurant, everything started normally. They ate, laughed, and talked about his travel plans. Then suddenly, Josh became serious. He placed his fork down and looked at Sophia directly. "About us," he began. Sophia smiled softly. "What about us?" she asked. Josh sighed. "Sophia, long-distance relationships are not easy. Especially with me going to Canada, things will change." Sophia's smile slowly faded. "What are you trying to say?" she asked. Josh leaned back in his chair. "I think we should be realistic. We should keep things open while I'm away." For a moment, Sophia thought she didn't hear him correctly. "Open?" she repeated. Josh nodded. "Yes, if we both meet other people, it's fine. We don't need to pressure ourselves." Sophia stayed silent, trying to process what she was hearing. But Josh wasn't finished. He continued, "And honestly, if I meet someone in Canada who can help me get permanent residency through marriage, I think you should understand. It's just a smart decision for my future." Those words hit Sophia like a slap. For a few seconds, she couldn't speak. The man she had supported with everything she had was now talking about replacing her like it was nothing. But Sophia didn't react. She simply nodded slowly. "I understand," she said quietly. Josh didn't notice the change in her expression. He thought she was being mature. But inside Sophia, something had broken. She excused herself from the table. "I need to use the restroom," she said calmly. Josh nodded without suspicion. As she walked away, her heart was pounding, but her mind was strangely calm. She was not going back to beg. She was not going to cry in front of him. Because in that moment, Sophia already knew something important. Josh had already left her emotionally, even before leaving the country physically. And now, she was about to make a decision that would change everything. Sophia walked into the restroom with a calm face, but inside her mind was fully awake. For a few seconds, she just stood there staring at the mirror. The man she loved had just told her he might replace her for permanent residency. And worse, he said she should understand. That was the moment something inside her changed completely. She took out her phone. Josh had trusted her enough to share access during the financial process, and Sophia knew exactly where everything was. Without hesitation, she opened his banking details. Then she saw it. The money she had sent. 10 million naira. The same money she borrowed, struggled for, and sacrificed for. Her fingers didn't shake. She didn't cry. She simply pressed a few buttons. And in seconds, the money was gone from Josh's account and back into hers. She paused for a moment. She looked at the screen and whispered to herself, "Strategic survival." Then she walked back to the table like nothing had happened. Josh was still relaxed, scrolling on his phone, completely unaware of what had just taken place. Sophia sat down calmly. Josh smiled. "You okay?" he asked. "Yes," she replied softly. A few minutes later, she stood up again. "I just got an urgent call," she said. "Oh, okay. Josh replied without suspicion. He didn't even look up properly. That was the last time she sat with him. Sophia walked out of the restaurant, got into a taxi, and never looked back. Inside the car, she blocked Josh on every platform: WhatsApp, calls, social media. No shouting, no argument, no drama, just silence. Josh called once, then twice, then many times, but every call failed. Only then did it slowly start to register that something was wrong. But by then, it was already too late. Sophia had already chosen peace over pain and recovery over love. The next morning, Josh was already at the airport. He kept checking his phone over and over again, expecting a message from Sophia. At first, he thought maybe she was just angry. Then he tried calling her. User not reachable. He frowned. He tried again. Same result. Slowly, confusion turned into panic. Back at home, he checked his banking app. At first, everything looked normal. Then he refreshed the page. And that was when reality hit him. The 10 million naira was gone. Josh stood still, staring at his screen in shock. No, this can't be happening, he muttered. He tried everything. Calling Sophia, messaging her friends, even reaching out to Vivian. But no one responded. Peter, who later heard about what happened, only shook his head. I warned him, Peter said quietly. But nobody listens when everything is going well. Vivian, on the other hand, felt disappointed, but not surprised. Meanwhile, Josh was already inside the airport, his dream finally becoming real. But something was missing. The money. And Sophia. For the first time, Josh understood what he had lost wasn't just financial support, but the woman who truly believed in him when no one else did. But it was too late. Hours later, his flight left Nigeria. And with it, so did the life he thought he was building on easy terms. Sophia never came back into his life. She focused on rebuilding herself, her peace, and her business. And slowly, she healed. Not because she forgot what happened, but because she finally chose herself. Moral lesson. Love without respect becomes sacrifice. And sacrifice without appreciation becomes pain. Never invest everything into someone who is not equally invested in you. And never ignore red flags just because you are emotionally attached. Sometimes, walking away is not weakness. It is wisdom. So tell me, if you were in Sophia's position, what would you have done? Would you have stayed and tried to fix things? Or would you have walked away like she did? And do you think Josh deserved what happened? Or did Sophia go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful life stories like this. See you in the next one.